ውድ ተመልካቾቼ እዚህ ጋር ኔልሰን ማንዴላን አይቼ እንግዲህ ልቆም ወድጃለሁ። ኔልሰን ራሊሃላ ማንዴላ ሚድል ኔማቸው ራሊህ ላላ እንደሆነ ዛሬ ነው የተረዳሁት። በጣም ደስ የሚል ምስል ነው። እዚህ በደቡብ አፍሪካ ኤምባሲ ውስጥ ነው የምገኘው አዲስ አበባ ውስጥ ነው። ኔልሰን ማንዴላ እኔ በጣም ከልጅነቴ ጀምሮ በጣም ነበር የምወዳቸው። ዓለማችን ካፈራቻቸው ታላላቅ ሰዎች መካከል ናቸው ብዬ ነው ማምነውና የፍቅርና የሰላም ተምሳሌት የይቅርታን ምንነት ለዓለም ሕዝብ የአፍሪካ ብቻ ሳይሆን ለዓለም ሕዝብ ያስተማሩ በጣም ትልቅ ሰው ናቸውና እዚህ ጋር ምን የተጻፈው ከሳቸው አንደበት ይወጣ ነው። During my lifetime I have dedicated myself to the struggle of the African people. I have fought against white domination and I have fought against black domination. I have cherished the ideal of a democratic and free society in which all persons live together in harmony with equal opportunities. It's an ideal which I hope to live for and to achieve, but if it needs to be, it's an ideal for which I'm prepared to die. እና በጣም በቃላቸው የሚገኙ ሰው ናቸውና ይሄ ጽሁፍ እንደሚለው የነጮችንም የጥቁሮችንም የበላይነት ስታገል ኖር ያለው የኖርኩበትም የምሞትበትም አላማዬ ይሄ ነው ይላል። ግን ከምንም በላይ ለ27 አመታት እድሜያቸውን ለእስር ተዳርገው ነበር። እንግዲህ ከእስር ቤት ከወጡ በኋላ ነው ይሄንን የጻፉትና የይቅርታ ተምሳሌት ናቸው ማለት ሁሉ ጊዜም ለዛ ነውና ደቡብ አፍሪካ ብቻ ሳይሆን ለዓለም ሕዝብ ባለውለታ ናቸው ብዬ ነው ማስበው። እየተከታተላችሁ የምትገኙት የውጭ ግንኙነት ፕሮግራማችን ነው። ከክቡር አምባሳደር ኤድዋርድ ኮሊሶ ማካያ ጋር አጭር ቆይታ እናደርጋለን። እንድትከታተሉን በአክብሮት ጋብዛለሁ። አብራችሁን ቆዩ። Thank you so much, sir, for agreeing to have this interview with me. I just want to thank the whole staff for being very prompt on replying my messages and making things easy for me to get here. So thank you. How long have you been as an ambassador to Ethiopia?
6 months now.
How do you find it?
I find it quite interesting. Of course, I've been here in this country as far back as 1995.
Oh, you were here in 1995?
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, attending the OAU meetings at the time. So I'm not new to this country, but okay. I'm new as an ambassador to this country. 6 months, very active involvement. So we are happy.
So it was easy for you to get used to the culture and actually living here. Are you getting used to things now?
No, indeed. So it was a smooth transition for us. As I said, we are not new here. We are used to the culture here. We are used to the food of this great nation. So it has been a smooth transition.
Have you been around? Where have you been in Ethiopia since?
I've been most of the places here, but I spend most of the weekend at Deborah's the lake there. I love
Beautiful.
it. I love it. Yeah, just to go and relax there over a weekend.
What about in Addis? What's your favorite spot so far?
We are all looking forward to the water fountain that you're building here near the Sheraton Hotel. So I had an opportunity to be taken through by the construction company, assisted by the Office of the Prime Minister with the rest of the African ambassadors. We believe, therefore, that water project is going to be the most attractive spot in the city of Addis. Of course, one moves up to the mountain to have a bit of a look on the city. It's a lovely spot, and we really appreciate the efforts that have been put in place to put up hotels, restaurants on the top of the mountain.
We're going to see Cape Town here, because Cape Town is like that.
Certainly, I mean, there's going to be a cable. So it's going to be an exciting place. Certainly, very proud of the efforts by the Prime Minister to develop this city and this country.
Okay. So let's let's move on to our conversation. I want to talk about Ethiopia and South Africa, of course. I don't know if our historic relation going as far as the Khoisan period, which is the original dwellers of South Africa. However, I know that our relationship has gotten stronger when we, both started fighting towards, foreign dominance in Africa and promoting Pan-Africanism and African brotherhood. How do you see the historic relation between Ethiopia and South Africa?
The relations between South Africa and Ethiopia are quite historic. They go back to 1962 when former President Mandela came here attending a conference that was held at Debrazet. And then the same year he came back now to receive military training in this country in Kofe. For us, Ethiopia is an important country that contributed immensely to the liberation of South Africa, and not only South Africa, but the liberation of the entire continent. Ethiopia is one of the countries on the continent that was never colonized. You fought occupation by the Italians, and therefore we always looked up to Ethiopia as a country of the continent. And Mandela himself describes Ethiopia as a birthplace of African nationalism. That's how we relate to this guy.
I'm glad that you mentioned the late Lord Nelson Mandela coming here. He was here for a summit, and then he came here for military training. And then I know that I have read that when he went back to South Africa, he actually got a pistol from General Tadesse Birru. Whatever happened to that pistol? Because, that's a huge symbol as to our relationship. And I believe that, the current me, I grew up looking up, up to Nelson Mandela, and that made me, that made my soul closer to South Africa. But I don't know about the current generation. And how do you see, where did the pistol go first? I want to know.
The pistol is, we all trying to find the pistol.
Okay.
As far back as last week, we were trying to reach out to the Nelson Mandela Foundation to establish the whereabouts of the pistol. But of course, if you read Mandela's book, he then indicates that on the day he was arrested,
he was arrested right
with his
after
pistol.
He went back, yes.
But luckily, he was never, the police did not check whether he had an arm or whatever. So the pistol, he put it in the car. So we have yet now to understand where the pistol is. You're correct, that pistol is quite symbolic. I think it's an important aspect in Mandela's connection with this country and the South Africa's connection with this country. And I want to believe that pistol is probably somewhere in the museums in South Africa. So we'll then undertake to try to find it and ensure that sometime in future you visit South Africa and have a picture of that pistol.
I will
have
do
a look
that
at it.
because
Yeah.
I'm a very big fan of Nelson Mandela, and I've read his biography, A Long Walk to Freedom. He said, Ethiopia has always held a special place in my own imagination, and the prospect of visiting Ethiopia has attracted me more strongly than a trip to France, English, and America combined. I actually got this from his biography, and at one point when I was a college student, I actually wrote about this and I wanted to share this with you. I used to blog, and I wrote this about him when he passed away. My grueling journey in an attempt to make a small impact in my own life has compelled me to commend this man for changing the world behind bars. He was a man who stood by his wise and kind words, and a man who lived for his dreams. A laureate willing to trade the dignity of being a black scholar then for the dignity of being a regular free man. The world has truly lost yet another magnificent man. It deeply saddens me to declare a true superhero as the late Nelson Mandela. He said that about Ethiopia, and at one point I was a college student, I was a young college student, and I said this about her, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people that agrees with me with this statement. So I know that there's a passion between Nelson Mandela and Ethiopia. However, do you think it's true for South Africans and Ethiopia? Because, you know, recently we've been hearing certain, you know, things about what's going on in South Africa. And are you trying to get some works done so that you can get the people closer and bring that African brotherhood spirit back?
No, indeed. As I said, Ethiopia is very special to South Africa. And of course, the contribution that this country made to the liberation of South Africa shall never be forgotten. We will forever be grateful and indebted to this country. Now, fast forward to the modern day. Indeed, the relations between the two countries are quite special. And we have signed several agreements to promote people-to-people cooperation. One of those is an agreement on the arts and culture, aimed at ensuring that the citizens of the two countries visit each other, and that the artists from the two countries could meet and showcase what they have. So that feeling that Mandela had is shared by a number of South Africans. But of course, it's a fact that in the recent past, we do find occasionally South Africans who then, for whatever reason they face in the country, they then vent out their anger by targeting foreign nationals. It's something that the government of South Africa does not approve of. It's something that we condemn in the strongest possible terms. And then, of course, that's how we relate to the continent. We are one people. We are the same people, whether you're Ethiopian, whether you're South African. So my role here as an ambassador is to promote that cooperation between the two countries, strengthen bilateral relations, people-to-people cooperation. If we were to go to our consular section here, you are going to see almost every day large number of Ethiopians who are applying for visas to visit South Africa. Equally, if you go to Pretoria, you're going to see a number of South Africans who are queuing up to get the visas to come to Ethiopia. That's how we are promoting ourselves.
So you're doing a cultural exchange.
Cultural exchange is very important.
Yes.
It's very important.
I believe that would help renew that relationship.
Indeed.
I know the modern diplomacy between Ethiopia and South Africa, especially when it comes to economic integration, it's very strong. South Africa has one of the largest foreign direct investment to Ethiopia. And I know that South Africa and Ethiopia has signed a declaration of intent in March 1998, which is a big agreement, and a general cooperation agreement in March 2004. Do you think how do you see the contribution of Ethiopia to South African economy?
No, indeed. There are quite a number of South African companies that have invested into the economy of this country. And of course, in our discussions at the government-to-government level, we are all trying to promote more investment, bring more investment from South Africa to here in the identified sectors: telecommunication, road infrastructure, agro-processing. This country holds great potential in the agro-businesses. Because of your location here in Ethiopia, you stand a good chance to export your agricultural products to the Middle East. So we are working hard then to ensure that we enhance cooperation in that regard. Now, talking about Ethiopian investment into South Africa, indeed, we've got a large number of Ethiopian nationals that are resident in South Africa. Many of them are contributing to the economic development of South Africa. They are into business, they are trading in South Africa. And they are making a huge contribution, and they've also employed South Africans in their industries. Equally, we also understand that some of the banks here, particularly the Commercial Bank of Ethiopia, is keen to open up branches in South Africa. So we are assisting them to secure a license in South Africa. So there's a mutual cooperation that is beneficial to both peoples, Ethiopians and South Africans.
A lot of Ethiopians migrate to South Africa, and they engage in small business and they engage in labor. But I want to know, is there like large investments you know, at like industrial park level?
Yeah, I mean, we believe that, I mean, if the Commercial Bank of Ethiopia were to get a license, that's probably going to be one of the major investments by Ethiopia into our economy. And secondly, there are quite a number of Ethiopians who are running hotels in South Africa. What we call in South Africa the 3-star hotels. So they're investing quite handsomely into our economy. And of course, the majority of the Ethiopians are just trading, selling stuff on the streets of South Africa, also owning some small shops in the city centers of our country. So they're making a contribution. They're making a contribution. And we are very grateful for that.
What about education? Does the embassy give out scholarships, grants, on-job trainings to South Africa?
No, not directly as government, but quite a number of Ethiopians are studying in our universities and technical institutions. I mean, including your current Prime Minister studied in South Africa. You're probably aware about that. Many of our universities, you then find some Ethiopian professors and doctors who are teaching at our universities. But then on the South African side here, we've got University of South Africa opening an office here some years back. In the recent past, they have trained over 400 postgraduates. So PhDs have gone through that program. In total, they've trained and ensure that we have graduates in this country. The number is about 735. Of those, over 2/3 of those are PhD students in this country. So UNISA is wanting to make this center the hub in this part of the world, in East Africa. So the potential is there for us to contribute to the development of intelligentsia in this country, people who then graduate in technology, in agriculture, and so on, so that they can then help to develop the country.
Okay. What about, arts and culture? South Africa is one of in Africa, it's one of the developed countries in terms of arts and culture. Do you showcase some of your works here in Ethiopia?
No, we do.
Embassies do that,
we do. Well, sometimes at our National Day, we celebrate our National Day on the 27th of April every year. Often we then invite a South African artist to come and perform. And this is what we'll be doing this year in 2020. Particularly that we are also chairing, South Africa chairs the AU. So we're going to have a big celebration here at the embassy on the 27th of April. We are planning to invite a cultural group from South Africa, and we are also going to be inviting a local cultural group so that they can entertain the guests that will be gracing that occasion. So we're working hard to promote cultural cooperation between the two countries.
Yeah, I think a lot of load is going to rest on you because, His Excellency Ramaphosa has been elected as the head of the AU. Yeah. So I'm sure a lot of works are expected to be done.
Certainly, certainly.
So what are projects on the pipeline, maybe? In the future, things that you plan on starting? Yeah,
there are basically two that come up. There's a charity organization here called Beham Yahun. We every year on the 18th of July, we collect books, contribution by the staff working at this embassy, both the South Africans that are working here and the Ethiopians that are working here. They collect books, they collect clothes, and the toys, and we all go on the 18th of July to go and donate that. That's for us as a major project. The 18th of July being the birthday of Mandela. Of course, this year we're going to have one of the South African big master chefs who's going to be visiting Ethiopia during the month of April. He'll be touring the country, showcasing South African cuisine. And so we'll be teaming up with the Hotel Hyatt in this regard, and we believe by so doing we'll then be showing what South Africa has to offer in terms of its food cuisine.
Yeah, South Africa is very advanced in culinary arts.
Indeed, yeah, indeed. So we're looking forward to that, and we're hoping that once we firm up the dates, we'll then invite yourself to cover that event. It's going to be a huge event.
Definitely, we'll be here.
It's going to be a huge event, yeah.
Yeah, we'll be here. So thank you so much for actually agreeing to have this interview with me. Is there anything that you want to say? Any last words?
Two things. One is to thank you for coming to interview us. Second, and most importantly, just to assure you that the relations between South Africa and Ethiopia are at an advanced stage, and we're working very hard to ensure that there's mutual cooperation, there's investment into the economies of the two countries. This is what President Ramaphosa and the Prime Minister Abiy have agreed, and we're working hard to ensure that that gets realized. Is when we have the socio-economic development in our own countries that we can begin to be happy. We want to ensure that there are jobs, there's improvement in the socio-economic situation of the people, improvement in education, and there's cultural cooperation. That's what we all commit.
Definitely. What got us through the bad times, those foreign dominance times, is the fact that we had this strong brotherhood, and the formation of the OAU and then the AU. I believe has done a lot of work in terms of actually getting African countries closer together instead of seeing each other as me taking your job, me as contributing to your economy.
Exactly. We are one people.
Yes.
President Ramaphosa and Prime Minister Abiy have directed us to work hard, and the two of them are committed to ensuring that they make a contribution. Not only to the advancement of the bilateral relations between the two countries, but also to advance continental integration, and that's what we are doing.
Yeah, I hope to see a great future between the two countries, and thank you so much, and please extend my gratitude to your staff who were very prompt in replying my message, which is I'm very grateful for that. Thank you, and I invite you to Nahoo Television to visit our office anytime.
Thank you very much. I'll certainly visit your offices to see where you are located in this great city. And I'm looking forward to working with you.
We'll be your media partner as well in terms of like getting, those projects in the future to the people. So
we really appreciate that.
All right.
We really appreciate, and we are looking forward to working with you.
All right. Thank
you
very
much.
እንግዲህ ክቡራን ተመልካቾቼ በደቡብ አፍሪካ ኤምባሲ ያደረኩት ቆይታ ይህንን ይመስል ነበር። ስለ ደቡብ አፍሪካ ታሪካዊ አመጣጥ፣ ስለ አለባበሳቸው፣ ስለ አመጋገባቸው፣ ስለ ባህሎቻቸውና እሴቶቻቸው ወደ እናንተ ያደረስኩትን መረጃ እንደወደዳችሁት ተስፋ አደርጋለሁ። እንዲሁም ከክቡር አምባሳደር ጋር ያደረኩት ቆይታ በጣም ደስ ይል ነበር። ስለ ኢትዮጵያና ስለ ደቡብ አፍሪካ ታሪካዊ እንዲሁም ደግሞ ዘመናዊ ግንኙነት ስናወራ ቆይታ አድርገናል። ሳምንት በሌላ ፕሮግራም እስከምንገናኝ ድረስ አዘጋጅና አቅራቢ ኤግላይት ናይት በዚሁ ተሰናበትኳችሁ። ጤና ይስጥልኝ።